all the wind chimes and fun things that I've had in places over the years, but they just kind of ended up in here for lack of nowhere else to put them at the time being. They work fine when I'm doing my laundry or something in here, and the thing's on spin cycle, then everything starts to jingle and bang and make a song. I am a mechanic, auto mechanic by trade. I would say that originally I had a lot of pitta. Thankfully feel, for the most part, pretty balanced most of the time. Basically, I came to a point in my life where I had stopped drinking. Then I started developing some other health problems, and Western medicine didn't seem to have a good answer for me. And so then I went to a naturopath. A big part of my issue was a wheat intolerance, not surprisingly, with all my drinking abuse in the past. And so that really started me on this path of just awakening more to my body. Basically, the day that I walked into a yoga studio, which is where the same yoga studio I heard about ayurveda, was also the same day that I asked my wife of 14 years for a divorce. I was just instantly drawn to this whole different aspect, again, of looking at life. I'd found some different paths already and was looking through yoga, and then like, oh, Ayurveda, what is this? When I started adding Ayurvedic practices, I believe that mostly it was just a continual reminder of waking up to myself. She helped me really find a way to breathe, to begin to notice my digestive tract, even feel into releasing things out of myself. It was very intriguing, even down to giving yourself an enema or something, and that was something that I'd never heard of as a guy. I mean, I'd heard of it, but like, what, really? So there was a lot of just self-care beginning stuff that opened some doors for me. Yoga is a part of my life. It came at a real crux in my life at the beginning of the end of my marriage. When I first started yoga, I remember laying in Shavasana and trying to open my palms. It was basically impossible for me to do that because there was so much muscle tension. Banging, beating, shocking, gripping, pulling stuff going on. And I think that's why I decided that I really loved the asana practice, was to undo that a little bit. Now it's pretty open and pretty relaxed most of the time. One of the first things I do is to wake up extremely early and meditate, and I feel like my day is off on the wrong foot or is incomplete if I don't get up and do that. Shortly thereafter, I generally recall to use nausea oil, which is something I do on a daily basis, if not twice a day, as well as the tongue scraper deal. Sometimes there's some yoga stretches, some asana in there. A lot of times right behind you in this trailer is an infrared sauna. One of the few things I saved from the relics of the big houses back in the day, right? And I'll sit in there for at least a half an hour twice a day, so in the mornings and at nights. So that's kind of part of my practice. It's just part of my personal time that I try to make sure I give myself every day. Lots of Abhyanga massages. I'm certain that, and specifically probably because I don't eat that many oils in my diet either, that it really not only helps my skin, but I feel like it helps everything about me. I mean, obviously it's a massage, it feels good, but just having that oil on the skin, and because our skin is our biggest organ, it just really feels incredible. I've tried, I did a couple cleanses and worked with the Khichdi, and I honestly couldn't stand it. Juliet also introduced me, of course, to triphala. That too was a little too much for this boy, so I went to the tablets, and I'm still sticking with those to this day. When I take triphala, I notice that I'm quite regular, and I also notice it's in a much more comfortable way than if I was to take a bunch of fiber or fiber pills or anything like that. I'm certainly not a fast food type of person. A lot of what I do is kind of graze all day long. I'll have just nutcrackers, and I still eat some dairy, so I'll have cheeses and maybe yogurt sometimes. a lot of grains that aren't wheat, a lot of nuts, very little meat. Yeah, just and as much water as I can possibly pack into my system during the day. But I do drink coffee as well. I think she would prefer that I would switch to tea or something, but I'm okay with my coffee. So. My physical issues with the wheat intolerance was basically I had what they call a fistula in my lower abdominal tract, and it would develop into these huge balls inside of you that hurt very much, and it was almost impossible to sit down, so let alone get in and out of cars and do your job. Western medicine's fix for that, they said they really didn't know what was causing it basically, and that their fix was that each time we can just go in and cut you open. And I wasn't interested in that, nor was I interested in their drugs to help with the pain. I take the Gugaroj, Raj, or whatever that is, to help with my joint and nervous system type stuff. Obviously working with my hands for a living. They have developed some issues over the years, and yoga and those kinds of supplements have helped to relieve a lot of that stuff. I meditate each day, generally in the morning for half an hour and sometimes up to an hour. And again at night, sometimes I will meditate just sitting in the sauna for the half hour I'm in there as well. So, when I originally started that, and Juliet was guiding me back in the day, we worked a lot with grounding breath and really mostly the exhale. And she did introduce some mantra practice. I have found that personally mantras are not very workable for me. The thing that works the best for me, my meditation practice, is as much silence as possible, and just concentrating on that silence and the breath. Generally speaking, my meditation practice begins with just sitting comfortably, and a lot of the times my cat will end up joining me. We sit for a good half hour to an hour every morning usually, and if I can't become kind of meditative at first, I will concentrate on my breath for a while, and usually within a little bit I'm in a pretty good meditative state. It's definitely been a practice that I've grown over time, and again I feel like something is definitely missing if I don't have my chance to meditate during the day. Yeah. My life continues to unfold in these ways that continue to just astound me. It's just an all-encompassing practice that has allowed me to dabble with these certain aspects with it that fit me and use them in my life in a way that's real easy to do. Yeah, without feeling any guilt or shame about not doing other ones. And I hope and feel like I continue to be even more healthy than I've ever been.
What's up? Say hi. What is Dexter? Huh? Oh, what is Dexter?
Is Dexter the star of the show? That's right. There's a bird, I'm distracted.